Hi, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do KMAS, which is the method you're going to be using or the process you're going to use to correct quizzes and tests for my class. If you do KMAS, for each problem you get wrong, you get back half the points that you lost. So if you were to get like an 80, it would move up to a 90. 90 would move up to 95, 60 to 80, and so on. So we're going to be doing this for the Unit 0 test. And this video will help you, even if it's not for the Unit 0 test, just to know how to do KMAS for any quiz or test in my class. You do not have to use the form that I upload. You don't have to edit it. You can get a blank paper and make a chart with number KMAS, and then you can show your work there. So again, you can do this on a blank paper. You don't have to print or edit my chart. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at the numbers you got wrong and analyzing your keywords, mistakes, answers, and solutions for each one. The important part here is the strategies. This is where I'm very picky. You need to make sure to show work. You can't just say this is the correct answer and expect to get points back. You need to show me how you got that answer. So I'm going to be showing how to get into your test to see what you did wrong, so you'll know what to correct. And then from there, we'll be going over the common mistakes for the KMAS. So let me go ahead and project my screen here. And we're going to be looking at the tests. So for my class, if you go to your geometry period, your class work, you would go to your Unit 0 test. And on yours, you can actually go in and already click on your Google form. So you would want to go to where you already did it, click on your Google form. Yours again looks a little bit different from mine. But here I'm going to show how to get in. So you could just click on your test. And once you're on your test, it'll show you your score. And then you can actually go down to see how you did on specific problems. So if it gives you a check, that means you got it right. If you see an X, that means you got it wrong. And it actually also tells you what the correct answer should be. So if you see an X, it tells you what you put, which was wrong. And then down here, it tells you your correct answer. So again, you're going to want to fix the ones that have X's on them, because that means that you got them wrong. And those are the ones we use for the KMAS process. So anyone that you got wrong. I'm going to actually go over all the common mistakes. So again, I'm using this student as an example right now because they had some of the common mistakes for their KMAS. One of them they got right, and that was number 1, which was a common mistake. And I'm going to go over that one with you all just because a lot of you missed it. So this first problem right here. So if you're looking at that problem, right away, you're going to go to your KMAS and you're going to look at your keyword, which is to evaluate. And I'm actually going to project my test up here, a blank one, so that you can see how to do this. So here, if you look, we're going to go to our test and we're going to look up the keyword first. So on the first question here, the keyword was evaluate. So when you go to your KMAS, you're going to put the question and your keyword, which here is to evaluate. Then you want to copy down the problem. So I'm going to copy down this problem right here. Absolute value of 10A plus 2B. This I show on the show work section. And then the problem told me that A was -2 and B was 3. So I'm going to plug in a -2 for A. And a 3 for B. From there, we multiply. So 10 times -2 is -20. 2 times 3 is 6. -20 plus 6 is -14. And here's where a lot of students made their mistake. They put -14 as their answer, and they forgot this means absolute value. So the absolute value of -14 is actually +14. So +14 was the correct answer. In the mistake section, just in your own words, you put what you did wrong. Some of you might have done something wrong than someone else, and that's fine. But let's say that you're one of the students that put negative 14. You could say forgot absolute value is positive. So just in your own words, you're correcting your mistake. Now, let's say I'm the student, I'm going to go to my test and I'm going to look at another problem that I got wrong. So let me go ahead and project the test here. So I'm going to go to my test, I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to see where I have an X. So here this student has an X. So this is a problem they'd want to correct, and they can see their wrong answer and what the correct answer should be. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the test, my blank copy, so that I can help you all fix this one. So here I'm going to scroll down, and the one with the graph was the sixth problem on the test. So when we go to KMAS, I'll put problem 6, and it wants to know the equation that models the graph. So just in your own words, what are the keywords? So I could put equation, models, graph. I'm not going to be super picky, just as long as you're showing the words that help you understand what you're doing with the problem. Next, we're going to show our work. So I'm going to go to my problem and do it, and then in the show work or strategies column, we want to make sure we show some of those strategies. So here, since this is a graph, you want to write your equation using y equals mx plus b. So we need to find our slope and our y-intercept. So if I'm analyzing my graph here, my y-intercept is at 2. And my slope, I would need to pick another point and then check rise over run. So this one's going down 1, because you always start at your left point and right 2. Since it went down 1, right 2, it's negative 1 over 2. So now if I'm writing my slope intercept form, my equation would be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. So we're plugging in our negative 1/2 and our 2 for our slope and our y-intercept. So our equation was negative 1/2 x plus 2, which was this answer right here. So in our KMAS, we're going to want to transfer some of these strategies. We don't just want to say this is our correct answer. So in KMAS, we could say y equals mx plus b. Our slope was negative 1/2. Our y-intercept was 2. So our equation is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. And you want to put that under answer, your correct answer. And then for your mistake, you could put what you did wrong. So if the student that got this wrong, let's go ahead and look at what they did. Again, yours might be different for mistake. So if I go to this students, they put negative 2x plus 4. So they could have actually been looking at the x-intercept instead of the y-intercept. And that's where they got the 4. They could have done rise over run backwards. So they could have just gone 2 over 1 instead of 1 over 2. But you want to do your rise on top, your run on the bottom. So just in their own words, they would write down what their mistake is. So we're going to go to our KMAS and we're going to write down what our mistakes are so that we can correct them. Again, everyone's mistakes are different. So here, when you're answering this, you just put what you did wrong. So here it could have said used x-intercept instead of y-intercept and did run over rise instead of rise over run. So I'm not going to be super picky there, just in your own words. Tell me what you did wrong. Now, the last question that a lot of students made a common mistake on was number 7. Again, I'm going to use this students to model. So let's go ahead and look at number 7 on this student's test. So on this student's test, if you look at number 7, they put 3 halves as their answer. The correct answer was -3 halves. So I already know if I'm the student in my KMAS, my mistake was I forgot to make it negative. But let's look at the problem and see why. So let's go ahead and open up the test and do our KMAS. So here, if I go to my test, the keyword was slope, perpendicular line, and they give us this equation. So I'm going to go to my KMAS for my keyword slope, perpendicular, and then I'm going to write down that equation, y equals 2/3 x minus 1, or I'm showing my work. Now, perpendicular was the key thing here. So, and slope. So if you look at your equation, your slope here is 2/3. You had to understand what perpendicular meant. So perpendicular means that you're going to have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. And what that means is you're going to change the sign and flip the fraction. So if you notice, the student on this test got 3 halves. So they did flip the fraction, but they actually forgot that if this was positive, our perpendicular slope would be negative. So the answer was actually -3 halves. Their mistake, again, was forgot to change the sign. For mistakes, everyone's different, so your mistake might be different, but you're looking at your test and telling me what you did wrong. And then you're showing your strategies or work that helped you to get that correct answer. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here. And again, in your KMAS, you're showing your keywords for the number you got wrong. Then you go to your strategy and show me your work or strategies that helped you get the answer, which you would write in your answer column. And then for mistake, again, I'm not going to be super picky, but tell me in your own words what it was you did wrong. So you're going to look through your test and you're going to correct the ones you got wrong. And then once you're done with KMAS, again, you don't have to use my form. You can write this on a blank sheet of paper. Take a picture of your KMAS and you can resubmit it under your Unit 0 test, or you can email it to me and I will update your grade. And again, you'll be earning half the points back. So let's say that you got 3 wrong and you got a 70. What I'll do is I'll take 100 if it's all correct now, add the 70 and divide by 2. So I'm giving you half your points back. This would wind up being an 85, and I would update that grade on Skyward for you. So again, this is just to help you raise your grade. It's not mandatory, but if you did fail, especially with below 60, you want to make sure you do KMAS. Even if you passed, you can do it to get a higher grade. So if you do want to do KMAS to raise your grade, just make sure again that you take a picture of it, resubmit your Unit 0 test, and I'll fix it. You can also email to me. Just make sure you put KMAS somewhere in the subject so I know right away what it's for, and so that'll go correct your grade.